The Xyloian base commander never even heard the crack. One moment he stood protected inside a localized energy matrix, believing himself completely untouchable. The next instant, his chest plate shattered inward and the violent force hurled him across the slick metal decking. No alarms warned him. No digital sensors flashed red. There was only the brutal thud of pure kinetic impact. The truth was simple. The enemy had released a virus that blinded every machine we had. So we answered with something older than their technology. We sent a ghost. 3 kilometers away, the deadliest weapon on the battlefield required no batteries at all. Wraith exhaled slowly, his breath stirring the dry red dust beside the wooden stock of his rifle. Beside him lay Tarnac, a towering herbivorous sarin whose hide looked as tough as cured leather. The massive alien shifted slightly beneath a thermal camouflage mesh. For 3 long days they had crawled on their bellies to reach this narrow ridge on Verdant 4, a razor-thin vantage point overlooking the Xyloian fortress. Every muscle in Wraith's body burned from the exhausting journey. Far below, the enemy had already begun reacting to the impossible first kill. Silver mist vented from the compound's perimeter scrubbers. "Silicon rot," Tarnac murmured, his deep voice vibrating through the ground and into Wraith's ribs. The drifting cloud was made of nanites, microscopic machines designed to devour anything containing a microchip. Communications, targeting lasers, active camouflage. Every piece of advanced technology would dissolve into useless slag within seconds. The Xyloians had built their empire on total domination of the digital spectrum. But when your enemy destroys technology, you fight them with history. Wraith ran a rough thumb along the cold-blued steel of the rifle's receiver. The weapon was a museum relic, a fully mechanical bolt-action rifle from another age. He pulled the bolt back. The heavy metal snick-clack sounded thunderous against the quiet alien jungle. He slid a thick brass cartridge into the chamber and slammed the bolt forward. The solid resistance of the spring, the scent of gun oil, and the brutal weight against his bruised shoulder grounded him. It was simple. It was real. "Windage?" Wraith asked as he pressed his aching eye against the scope. There was no glowing digital reticle, only simple black crosshairs etched into glass. Tarnac didn't reach for a datapad. Instead, he lifted a brass-rimmed spotting tube and adjusted its thick lenses with careful precision. The huge sarin studied the distant plants swaying in the wind and the dust striking the fortress walls. He calculated the trajectory entirely in his head, a biological computer powered by instinct and years of shared combat experience. 2 clicks left. Distance: 3,200 meters. Tarnac rumbled without removing his eye from the optics. They are scanning inside the walls. Panic had taken hold below. Floodlights swept the jungle edge, while elite guards boosted their energy shields to maximum. Their defense grid screamed for data, desperately searching for electronic targeting lasers or digital signatures. But it found nothing. Silence and gunpowder, the perfect countermeasure in a digital war. Wraith slowed his breathing. In through the nose. Hold. He knew what waited far above them in the darkness. High in the freezing upper atmosphere, human stealth gliders drifted silently in an unpowered orbit. Completely disconnected from any network, their crews waited in the cold darkness for a simple physical signal. "Target 2, Wraith whispered, finger tightening around the metal trigger. "The plasma stockpile is exposed." Tarnac confirmed the target. "Wait for the wind." The wind faded. The jungle became perfectly still. "Drop," Tarnac said quietly. Wraith squeezed the trigger. The rifle kicked like a dying mule, the wooden stock smashing against his injured shoulder. The heavy tracer round ignited the moment it left the barrel, a blinding streak of burning phosphorus ripping through the alien air. Far below, the Xyloian commander stormed onto the observation deck, shouting for his technicians to locate the mysterious sniper. He turned his armored head just in time to see the blazing streak slam into the containment casing of the volatile plasma stockpile. The blast was more than an explosion. It was a wall of force. The crushing overpressure struck the observation deck first, shattering reinforced barricades and erasing the commander before the fire even touched him. The ignited plasma then triggered the neighboring munitions bunkers. A catastrophic chain detonation tore through the fortress core, ripping heavy durac steel into deadly shrapnel and collapsing the western perimeter. The ground beneath Wraith and Tarnac shook violently. High above, in the black vacuum of the upper atmosphere, the signal had been seen. The Void Drifter shock troopers didn't use communications. They didn't rely on drop pod thrusters. They simply saw the blooming flower of fire below and stepped out of their gliders. They plunged through the thin atmosphere in terrifying silence. No rockets. No digital braking systems for enemy scanners to detect. Only gravity and courage. Wind screamed against their armored suits as they fell like iron hail. At the final moment, they yanked the cords of their mechanical parachutes and slammed down onto the ruined fortress. The surviving Xyloian soldiers were deafened and disoriented, their energy shields flickering from the blast and their digital targeting systems completely useless against enemies already inside their defenses. The shock troopers wasted no time. They breached shattered bulkheads with kinetic charges and brute force, sweeping through the confused enemy ranks with brutal coordination. Every strike was precise, every movement deadly, fueled by the momentum of their drop. Back on the ridge, the mission was complete. Wraith pulled the bolt back and the empty brass casing flew into the air, only to be caught effortlessly by Tarnac's massive fingers. The Sarin never left evidence behind. Together, they disassembled the rifle. Wraith folded the bipod and cleared the chamber while Tarnac carefully removed the heavy glass optics and wrapped them in padded cloth. They moved quickly with practiced precision. Two completely different species united by the raw mechanics of analog warfare. Wraith slung the heavy canvas bag over his aching shoulder and paused to look at the sky above Verdant 4. The darkness overhead deepened, not from smoke, but from the silent wings of hundreds of gliders descending from orbit. A fleet of wood, canvas, and cold steel falling from the stars to reclaim a stolen world. "Time to move," Tarnac said, already turning toward the thick jungle. Wraith nodded once. Together they disappeared into the foliage long before the first victorious roar of the shock troopers echoed across the battlefield. Please follow my channel for more videos. One click from you can change my life. Rocket.